We thought Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled. I heard Mark Maron today talk about it. He said, you guys were so afraid of being canceled. You went out and you screamed and you yelled about being canceled. Cancellation was coming from people who didn't like what you had to say, who didn't agree with what you were saying, and were speaking out about it. This cancellation is the United States government coming and taking your voice away from you.
Yes, all of a sudden, out of the blue, claimed the Late Show was losing $40 million a year, and then miraculously got FCC approval to sell their company, which is what they wanted. And I guess that wasn't enough for El Presidente, because he posted, the word is, and it's a strong word at that, Jimmy Kimmel is next to go in the untalented late night sweepstakes, which is alarming because I don't know if you know this, Jimmy Kimmel is me.
Trump's time as president felt like a big, messy reality show. The kind of show that would normally get canceled after one season. Except this one involved a whole country. Jimmy Kimmel and Mark Ruffalo joked about it in a sharp but angry way, showing how ridiculous things got. They made it clear this wasn't just fun roasting. It was tearing apart a man who mixed up chaos with charm, tricks with plans, and claps from crowds with real leadership.
Yes.
Do you think that you were poking the bear a little bit to see if they would, by doing political stuff and all, or saying whatever's on your mind and risking viewership? Do you think you're kind of poking them a little bit to see what they would do?
No, and I really, this is just I don't know. I really think that when they were trying to buy Fox, they were worried that Trump was going to screw them up somehow. And I think that was part of why they were nervous about my comments,
So why does this matter? Why are people out here getting so in the rain to send a message?
Because we see our democracy is in real trouble. We see a president who has made himself a king and dictator. And we don't see an opposition that's powerful enough to stand up against the trampling of our rights and the trampling of the Constitution that's happening every single day.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Kimmel laughed about how Trump made decisions like a clown act, where every choice seemed like a joke waiting for laughter. It's like he sat in the White House spinning a wheel of bad ideas, waiting to land on the next mistake. Ruffalo, who is very serious about activism, said it's more than silly, it's dangerous. Running a country can't be a guessing game. Ordinary people ended up paying for his stunts. Together, they showed that Trump cared more about his ego and staying in the spotlight than about helping the nation.
Okay, or as he has to be reminded not to call it, the Paddington Unbearable is in England for an official visit with the royal family. Wait till he finds out tea time has nothing to do with golf. He's going to be very upset. The royals are expected to greet the president and first lady tomorrow, but some clever Brits are already rolling out, I wouldn't call it a red carpet exactly, but rather a King Kong-sized photo of Trump with his buddy Jeffrey Epstein.
When it came to dealing with other countries, Trump turned things into a circus. Kimmel made fun of the weird handshakes, strange photos, and fake announcements that replaced real teamwork. Ruffalo explained that these silly shows actually hurt America's strength around the world. Instead of smart plans, leaders got random behavior, as if every meeting was just another press event. It looked less like serious diplomacy and more like an improv comedy night, leaving other countries confused about whether this was a joke or real politics.
And shortly thereafter, Fallon will be gone. These are people with absolutely no talent who are paid millions of dollars for, in all cases, destroying what used to be great television. It's really good to see them go, and I hope I played a major part in it. Oh, you delicate, chubby little teacup. Did we hurt your feelings? You want us to be canceled because we make jokes about you? I thought you were against cancel culture. I thought that was like their whole thing. When did you become so woke?
On money and the economy, Trump bragged again and again. He showed off when the stock market went up, acting like it was his personal win, as if traders followed his tweets. Kimmel laughed at how he took credit when things went right, but never blame when they went wrong. Ruffalo went deeper, saying behind those big numbers, workers were struggling. Wages stayed the same, and the gap between rich and poor grew bigger. Trump's bragging looked like a magic trick, flashy on the outside, but empty inside, while the middle class slowly disappeared.
We saw Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled. I heard Mark Maron today talk about it. He said, you guys were so afraid of being canceled. You went out and you screamed and you yelled about being canceled. The cancellation was coming from people who didn't like what you had to say, who didn't agree with what you were saying and were speaking out about it. This cancellation is the United States government coming and taking your voice away from you.
Trump's way of talking alone could fuel a comedy roast forever. Kimmel compared his rambling speeches to a bad open mic night, where the jokes never land. But Ruffalo reminded people that this was serious too. When a president twists words, hides facts, and rewrites reality, it hurts democracy. What might sound silly in a speech ends up shaping bad policies. His confusing language made his decisions just as messy as his words.
For Frosty the Snowflake, the only place we are going is to New York. Once again, we are packing up our Haley Bieber smoothies and headed to Brooklyn for a week of shows at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music, starting September 29th, ending October 3rd. And one of our guests that week, we have great guests lined up, will be my good friend Stephen Colbert. We have a lot.
Trump loved fighting with people, and Kimmel had fun mocking that. He said Trump acted like a middle school kid in the cafeteria, always starting drama instead of solving problems. Ruffalo pointed out that energy should have been used to deal with real crises, not fake enemies. A president acting like a troll may sound funny, but for the country, it's sad. Then came the topic of the environment. Ruffalo, who cares a lot about the planet, went hard on Trump's denial of climate change, his support for oil, and his rollback of protections. He said it's like putting someone who loves fire in charge of a fire station. Kimmel joked that the only green Trump cared about was the grass on his golf course, while the earth burned. Ruffalo added that even health protections for the sick were torn down in the name of reform. It wasn't real policy, it was a show, and people's health paid the price.
That sign, which, by the way, really put Kinko's to the test, is especially timely because this trip he's taking was planned by the UK ambassador to Washington, a guy named Peter Mandelson, who was fired last week when they found out he wrote one of the letters in the Jeffrey Epstein birthday book, which means Pete will not be there for the visit he planned, which is too bad. He and Trump would have had a lot of gross things to talk about, I'm sure.
The endless staff changes were like a comedy show too. Kimmel compared the White House to a sitcom, with new characters showing up and leaving before anyone even knew their names. Ruffalo said this constant chaos made the government unstable, like a badly run fast food place. Instead of experts, Trump kept people who only said yes to him, no matter how silly the idea. Kimmel also joked about Trump's obsession with crowd sizes, while Ruffalo explained that it showed deep insecurity. Trump cared more about applause than real results. And these mistakes weren't harmless. They lowered the dignity of the presidency. The job, once respected, became just another part of Trump's never-ending show.
So you interrupted. His first instinct is to lie, and then his second instinct is to wrap that lie in another lie, like a Crunchwrap Supreme, you know? I know how to get him to admit he did this. All you have to do is say, that drawing is great. He will immediately take credit for it. And you know this is getting to him because he did something today that he rarely does. He said nothing all day. There were no press conferences, no cabinet meetings, no public signings, no chats with reporters on the lawn. He holed up in his office all day long. He took one phone call from NBC News this morning. They asked about the letter. He said, I don't comment on something that's a dead issue.
On immigration, Ruffalo showed the cruelty hidden under Trump's Tough Act. Families were split up, people seeking safety were blocked, and walls became his favorite slogan. Kimmel joked about how silly it was to think walls could solve everything, saying it revealed more about Trump's fears than about real safety. Together, they showed how his policies were really just a show of division, with real people suffering. On voting, Ruffalo called out Trump's hypocrisy. He said elections were broken, but still claimed he was the rightful winner. Kimmel made it funny, saying, "How can a man say the system is broken, but also say he's the only true winner?" It was laughable, but also scary, because it hurt trust in democracy. Ruffalo explained that flooding the news with constant drama was part of the plan. It made accountability impossible. The country spun in circles, while Trump stood smiling in the chaos.
To commemorate a life of the American that was killed by a Nazi on American soil, let's say her name so Donald Trump can hear what's happened here. He's allowed these people. He's allowed fascism. He's allowed the KKK. He's allowed Nazis to show their ugly face. And we need to remind them there's a cost for that. Americans have died because of it.
Trump's battles with the press became another target. Kimmel laughed at how Trump called reporters enemies, but still craved their attention. Ruffalo warned that attacking free speech was dangerous, turning real news into political fights. When truth becomes flexible, democracy weakens. Trump may have loved the headlines, but he damaged the very system that held him in check. Kimmel mocked Trump's habit of tweeting big foreign policy decisions like jokes, while Ruffalo said it was reckless, sharing secrets and getting too close to enemies while pushing friends away. These weren't small stunts. They put the country at risk. Even in serious tragedies, Trump used the spotlight to promote himself, showing he wanted to be a star, not a leader.
This morning, Trump warmed up for his date with the British press by yelling at a reporter from Australia who dared to ask about the billions of dollars he's been raking in since the election.
President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners Program.
The Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. They want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well, thanks, John.
What a little tattletale he is.
Trump wanted his legacy to be about power and dominance. But Kimmel and Ruffalo showed it was really about chaos, mistakes, and vanity. Instead of building friendships, he built walls. Instead of bringing people together, he created fights. Instead of making plans, he made things up as he went. History won't remember him as a leader, but as a warning. Kimmel and Ruffalo didn't just laugh at him, they revealed the truth. His whole presidency was a stage play that collapsed under reality. Every brag became a joke, every decision a parody, every ego trip another comedy sketch. In the end, Trump wasn't governing. He was giving comedians endless material. But for real citizens, his actions brought real problems. Kimmel and Ruffalo showed that Trump cared more about looking important than truly serving people.
So certain he didn't do this. Well, he's never lied before. Listen, even his lies have other lies on top of them. When the Wall Street Journal broke this story first time, Trump said, I don't even do drawings. And then immediately, 25 drawings he did came out, like 10 seconds later, which he had to know would happen. But he can't help it. He can't just stop it. I didn't draw it. He goes straight to, I've never drawn. I don't even have a pen. Well, what's that Sharpie in your hand, Mr. No, that's not a Sharpie. That's a mascara. I was about to do J.D. Vance's eyeliner.
The chaos of Trump's presidency wasn't just about yelling or silly tweets. It weakened America's institutions. His snap decisions hurt democracy, making lies spread faster, accountability weaker, and trust in leaders fall apart. With jokes and sharp words, Kimmel and Ruffalo reminded people that humor teaches too. It hides truth inside laughter. Trump wanted to look strong, but his actions made him look weak. He tried to seem in control, but kept causing his own crises. The harder he tried, the easier it was to see the cracks. Kimmel used the contradictions as jokes, while Ruffalo showed the damage behind them. Their mix of comedy and activism proved Trump's power was hollow. History may laugh, but it will also mourn what was lost during those years.
Tackled in a press conference, representing his constituency with a question to the Homeland Security, who has invaded that state with a military presence, you know you're heading for a dictatorship. That's a turning point. You're only going to see more of that happen. This administration will continue to overreach, and this will be the response.
The traits Trump bragged about, being bold, unpredictable, and always promoting himself. ended up being his downfall. Under Kimmel and Ruffalo's spotlight, those traits looked weak, not strong. His need to dominate every moment gave critics endless material. Kimmel turned it into comedy, while Ruffalo turned it into a warning against leaders who confuse arrogance with vision. The lesson wasn't just about Trump. It showed the danger of choosing showmanship over real leadership. Trump's presidency proved that noise can't replace skill, and vanity can't replace real plans. Kimmel and Ruffalo tore apart the myth piece by piece, showing that without substance, power collapses. In the end, Trump looked less like a respected leader and more like a performer who thought applause was the same as achievement.